Grade 4, Module 1, Lesson 18 homework. Directions. Model each problem using a tape diagram. Solve using numbers and words. So we're going to be looking for a tape diagram and solving it using numbers and words. So let's read the problem first and see what we're looking to do. Number 1. There were 22,869 children, 49,563 men, and 2,872 more women than men at the fair. How many people were at the fair? So let's go through and start marking what we know. There's 22,869 children. There's 49,563 men. But the women tells us is a little bit different. There's 2,872 more. We know more always means it's going to be added to something. More women than men at the fair. So I'm seeing this as 3 categories. We have children, we have men, and we have women. So let's go ahead and make categories for our tape diagrams to represent. So we're going to do a category for children, a category for men, and a category for women. So children, they represent 22,869. I'm going to put that above it. 22,869. The men, they represent 49,563. Now the women, they represent 2,872 more than the men. So the women are going to need to represent all of the men, which were 49,563. But they have more than the men. In fact, they have 2,872 more. So that's going to be an extra little piece for them, 2,872. And if we look at this all together, this is our total people. So to calculate that total people, we need to just start adding up all of our numbers. We had 22,869 children. We have 49,563 men. And for women, we have 49,563 plus the added 2,872. When you add up those 4 numbers, you will get 124,867. So they want us to also make sure that we're using words. So let's go ahead and make sure that we add a complete sentence. There are a total of 124,867 people at the fair. Problem number 3. A store sold a total of 21,650 balls. It sold 11,795 baseballs. It sold 4,150 fewer basketballs than baseballs. The rest of the balls sold were footballs. How many footballs did the store sell? So let's go through and mark up what we know. We know that the store sold a total of 21,650 balls. So that's all together. 11,795 were baseballs. And it also sold 4,150 fewer. Fewer always means to subtract basketballs than baseballs. I'm going to go ahead and underline baseballs as well so that we know what it sold fewer than. The rest of the balls sold were footballs. I want to underline what they're asking. How many footballs did the store sell? So we know we have three kind of balls that were being sold. We have baseballs, basketballs, and footballs. The problem gave us how many baseballs were being sold. There were 11,795 baseballs sold. So let's go ahead and mark that. 11,795. But then there's an information that says it sold 4,100 fewer basketballs. So we don't know how many basketballs we sold, but we know that it's less than the baseballs. Well, how many less than? 4,150. So however many basketballs, it's 4,150 less than the baseballs. And then we also don't have a clue how many footballs. So let's just put footballs as a question mark because we don't know. So let's look at this information and see what we can figure out. We can tell how many baseballs they have, and if they sold 4,150 fewer basketballs, that leads us to a subtraction problem, which we already discussed in the problems. So we have 11,795, and we're going to subtract off the 4,150. Looking ahead to see if we need to do any kind of regrouping. Everything looks okay until the thousands place. I'm going to borrow from the 10,000s. I'm going to borrow 1 from the 10,000s, leaving me with 11 1,000s. And now I can do my subtraction. 5 subtract 0 is 5. 9 subtract 5 is 4. 7 subtract 1 is 6. 11 subtract 4 makes 7. So I just got a piece of information. I know that 7,645 basketballs were sold. So at this point, let's see what information we have. We know that there were 11,795 baseballs that were sold. We know there's 7,645 basketballs that were sold. And we know our total. What was our total? Our total was 21,000. I'm going to go ahead and write it off to the side over here. 21,650. So I'm going to add up our basketballs plus our baseballs and see how much that leaves us with. So our basketballs were 11,795. I'm sorry, our baseballs were 11,795, and we're going to add to that our basketballs, 7,645, and we'll see what we get. 5 plus 5 makes 10. 9 plus 4 plus 1 makes 14. 7 plus 6 plus 1 makes 14. 1 plus 7 plus 1 makes 9. And 1 plus nothing else is 1. So together, our basketballs and our baseballs add to 19,440. To find our footballs, we need to take our total number of balls, because we know our total. That was 21,650, and subtract off how many baseballs And basketballs we have 19,440. I'm going to look to see if there's any regrouping that needs to happen. It looks like the only thing that needs to regroup is in the thousands place. I need to take a 10,000 away, leaving me with 1 10,000. And in the thousands place, I'm going to get 11 thousands. And now you can subtract. 0 subtract 0 is 0. 5 minus 4 is 1. 6 minus 4 is 2. 11 minus 9 is 2. And that is how many footballs we are going to have. So the directions are asking us how many footballs did the store sell? The store sold 2,210 footballs.